From untrue gossip
This is a rumor I would like to disperse.
to real-life fears and completely different casting decisions. Here's everything you didn't know about the Harry Potter films. Do you still believe the long-standing rumor that Daniel Radcliffe broke 100 wands on the set? Well, he actually didn't. About a year ago, the actor finally revealed the truth.
It's not that many, guys.
At the same time, Dan never denied that he broke a certain number of wands.
I used to, use them and, drum on my leg with it the whole time.
But let's not exaggerate.
I was probably 12. Maximum, absolute maximum of 20.
And also, remember that he wasn't the only one, since most of the other actors also broke a few. But at least they didn't kill anyone. No fantasy franchise goes without the loss of a few important characters. Some of the most heartbreaking deaths in Harry Potter were Sirius, Dumbledore, and Fred. But there could have been more. For example, did you know that Mr. Weasley wasn't supposed to survive Nagini's attack? Rowling left him alive just because he was the only good father figure in the series. Another character who could have died was Hagrid. His demise would have certainly broken quite a few hearts, but not as much as our beloved Ron's passing. That's right, J.K. Rowling seriously thought about killing him off too.
It's a real relief to be able to talk about it all.
Thank God she isn't George Martin and didn't turn Harry Potter into another Game of Thrones. Now, on to merrier facts. Everyone has heard of the fanfics where Hermione and Draco become a couple. But there was another kind, where Draco and Harry fall in love.
I think it's called Drarry or whatever, Draco and Harry combined.
Seems incredible? Well, Tom Felton doesn't agree. While playing fan or fanfiction with AOL, he revealed that it could have been possible. Harry was constantly crushing on Draco. He just couldn't hide it, the actor said. Yeah, if you think about it, he was obsessed with his arch-nemesis at times, especially in The Half-Blood Prince. But here's the funniest thing. There were also artworks of Drarry.
I've seen some rather horrendous pictures over the years, which Daniel and I definitely did not share with the world. My brother had it as his screensaver on his phone for a while.
Well, that's what brothers do. And here's a fact about another not-so-good guy. No one could have ever played a better Snape than the late Alan Rickman. But just like everyone else, he was quite confused about his character in the beginning. Why did Dumbledore trust him? Was he really Voldemort's spy? We also asked these questions before Snape showed his story to Harry, but Alan Rickman learned about it way before us and everyone else involved in filming. As Rowling said, she told him what lay behind the word always. And it helped the actor play Snape in a much more nuanced way as he understood his motivations. At times, Alan would even argue with the director if he felt Snape wouldn't do something. And he never explained why.
Chris would literally say to him, "Why are you doing that like that?" He said, "I'll tell you later."
What a good secret keeper he was. I wonder if the next actor would have blurted it out. Every fan knows that Ron's biggest fear is spiders. But are you aware that the same can be said about the actor who played him? It turns out that Rupert Grint's on-screen reactions to the spiders in the Chamber of Secrets were genuine. Filming the Forbidden Forest scene with Aragog and its, children was terrifying for him. In fact, the actor felt so uneasy that he never even watched the full scene.
We kind of added visual effects, all these kind of moving ones on the ground, and it was that I just couldn't. I still can't watch that scene. It's absolutely terrifying.
He has a point. Those giant spiders were extremely scary. But there was a character who was more frightening for some fans. Dolores Umbridge's cruel dictatorship-like ambitions, combined with her seemingly innocent looks, makes her a perfect character for a horror movie, don't you think so? Well, now you will, because even the master of this genre was terrified by Dolores. Check out Stephen King's review of The Order of the Phoenix and his description of Umbridge. With her girlish voice, toad-like face, and clutching stubby fingers, she's the greatest make-believe villain to come along since Hannibal Lecter, he said. You can't argue with that. And speaking of the actual main villain of the series, did you know that he could have been different? When the casting call for young Tom Riddle in the Chamber of Secrets was announced, Eddie Redmayne was there to audition. He turned out to be a long-term fan of the series. Over the years, he even wanted to play one of the Weasleys, yet he only auditioned for Riddle. "I properly failed and didn't get a callback," the actor commented, but as we all know, it wasn't the end for him. Years later, Eddie got the role of Magizoologist Newt Scamander in Fantastic Beasts. It's certainly a bigger and better role, isn't it? So, as they say, everything happens for the best. Now let's see another actor who also wanted to play an entirely different role in the saga. Jason Isaacs was brilliant as Lucius Malfoy, but it almost didn't happen. The actor nearly passed on the role because he wanted to play Gilderoy Lockhart. Director Chris Columbus actually told him to try out for Lucius. Initially, Jason wanted to say no. He didn't want to become a cliché and play another villain after Captain Hook and Peter Pan. Luckily, the director managed to convince him. In fact, Jason played more than one part in the series. Did you know that he also voiced the Basilisk? Yes, he doesn't say a word, but the creepy hissing sound is Jason's work. And as we continue the topic of different actors trying out for Harry Potter roles, although Helena Bonham Carter owned the role of Bellatrix Lestrange, she wasn't the first choice. Initially, the part was offered to the late Helen McRory. But when she got pregnant, she bowed out of playing Voldy's most loyal Death Eater. So the casting crew had to keep looking. And they found Helena, the real jewel for the role. As we know, McCrory also joined the series a little bit later and played Bella's sister, Narcissa Malfoy. So it all turned out for the best as both actresses were perfect for their roles. But what if no actors were needed to bring Harry Potter to life? Warner Brothers initially wanted to make the Harry Potter saga an animated series. They even thought of combining multiple books into one movie. What's more, Steven Spielberg was the first director they had in mind, and he wanted to make an animated film with Haley Joel Osment voicing Harry.
I see dead people.
That sounds a little weird. So eventually the studio decided against the idea, and we were lucky to get 8 live-action movies. Yet I still wonder sometimes what Spielberg's version would have looked like. Anyway, we're on to the next fact. Some people might think that the child actors in Harry Potter only had fun all day long, but in fact they had to keep up with their real-life schoolwork. However, they barely had time to do their homework after shooting. So the crew came up with an idea that fit everyone. When they filmed the classroom scenes, the kids were doing their actual homework. Not only did it help them study, but it also created a better and more realistic atmosphere for the school scenes. And here's another fact from the beginning of the movie series. For longtime fans wondering why Harry didn't have green eyes, it was quite an important element that was repeated multiple times in the books. Initially, Dan Radcliffe was supposed to wear green contact lenses, but he had a serious allergy to them. So they decided to let it be. A similar thing happened to Emma Watson. In the books, Hermione had prominent front teeth, so fans expected her to have those in the movies too. The crew actually tried filming a few scenes where Emma wore prosthetic teeth, but she had trouble speaking with them, so the idea was scrapped. Are you ready for one more fact about Emma? While filming the first movie, the Hermione actress had a little tragedy in her life. Her pet hamster Millie passed away, and she was understandably very sad about it. So the cast and crew decided to help her deal with the loss. They all gathered to have a funeral for Millie. The set department even created a custom-made coffin for the animal.
And it had a velvet lining and a silver plaque on the front, which had Millie's name engraved on it.
Needless to say, it was very touching for Emma, so she remembered it as the years went by. And she even dedicated one of her awards to her late hamster.
Rest in peace, Millie. This one's for you.
How cute! Which of these facts did you already know? Share in the comments below. And if you want to learn more about the Harry Potter movies, check out our other videos.